What's up, guys? Sub-Zero here with another Dish Soap PBE in-house VOD review. Quite the mouthful. He was playing in a lobby this game with a bunch of really strong players. You can see on the right, that's Soju, Milk, Deepay, Spetham, Phoenix. I don't know who 123 is, and Prestivant. I actually had the chance to play with some of these players earlier today. It was kind of hilarious. I hopped online and so that Kai was in a lobby with like Soulless and replaying a bunch of beasts, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. Also, I was curious to see if he buys this Chosen. He does decide to buy this Chosen. I've been interested about like how strong Kennen Chosen actually is. He feels I mean, but you're not playing Kennen 3. He feels fine early now. Not insane. We just need to find some backline here. Yeah, any kind of backline. Ideally Senna, right? Senna is the best backline in this spot, and then eventually you get to Superfan, and it's super broken. In any case, yeah, Kai was in a lobby with those sweats, and I was like, hey, Kai, if you can, get me in there, and he ended up getting me in there. Okay, I really hate this start from an item slam perspective, because there's nothing really obvious to slam. There's like BT, but the problem is you don't actually have a BT holder right now, so I'm really curious to see what Dishy Soapy does in this spot. Like, BT is great if you want to play for if you want to play for like Zed or like Viego or even Akali, it's fine on. But the problem is just not the best slam right now because you don't really have anyone to put it on. He could try to BT Kennen or even BT. I've seen BT Cassante to some success. Really curious what he goes for here. I don't think either of these augments are very good. I think Three's Company is actually very solid right now. So I'd probably reroll this, and then this is untakeable, so you take Three's Company here. I think it makes a lot of sense. We have a Heartsteel here, so we could potentially get like a Yone here. We did not get a Yone. Yeah, these are pretty bad actually from our position, I would say. You could play around the Riven, but it doesn't really do anything. You didn't even hit a Nico, you didn't hit an Echo. Like, this might be worst case scenario. Holy. Okay, curious to see what port. I mean, you have the Gnar, right? Like, you can play the Gnar and play Superfan. It's just you lack damage, right? Like, you I don't know, like ET Gnar or something like that, but it just doesn't do any damage is the problem. So yeah, you need some kind of backline. Though he's gonna opt to just for this round not play a backline. Probably, I don't know, maybe make BT on Gnar. Yeah, it looks like that's what he's looking at, and then Sword, and then Edge of Night. Like, and he's just gonna BT Edge of Night, and he's gonna slam it all into Kennen. Okay, so yeah, he's just gonna put it on Kennen. The problem, I think, is after the nerfs, I feel like this Kennen unit just doesn't do any damage. I guess we'll see how he does in this opener, because I mean, it is a 3-item Kennen, and those items do supplement his damage a bit, and he's got true damage in. So we'll see how this opener goes. I'm actually really curious. There's the Nico, which is just a better super fan to play now. I mean, you could also play 4 super, but looks like, I mean, he doesn't really want to cut Cassante too, which makes sense. But maybe this can be we can level up for Kennen later. But yeah, he wants to this game probably play for some kind of Zed, some kind of Viego type game. Okay, so I think in this spot, I think it makes a lot of sense to make Edge of Night here. I've actually like, I was literally just talking to Kai about this like half an hour ago or something like that. Kai is like an absolute like Edge of Night. Like, he feels like the game is really hard to play without Edge of Night. I personally have been finding success with Titans. It's seemed completely fine to me. So, you know, in this game, we're obviously Edge of Night, and I think some people prio Edge of Night really highly. I mean, don't you just make, well, yeah, you just make 20 here and hold Gnar pair, yeah? Oh, no. That's not what you do at all. You do this. I think I think, I mean, not sure, and I could go back and listen to his audio, but I think he might not be convinced that this Kennen unit is doing anything. Or maybe he's just, you know, more interested in finding a better Chosen to play around. But yeah, this Cassante with items, which is what I was talking about initially, the BT on Cassante, I think I've seen a lot of people going for it, and I've seen, you know, a decent amount of success on it. It looks pretty solid. Main question is, what are we gonna do with this rod? He's just gonna go for sword here to look for maybe last damage item, maybe like IE or something like that. I would really love like a Titans or something in this spot, but like the fear is that maybe it'd be too low damage in this spot, but I'd probably go for Titans last item. Rizzo Tom Kench will not do it. We are playing for 5 loss streak here, and he's of course Dish Soap. He's gonna be very careful about you know, the people that he's fighting, and make sure that he doesn't accidentally beat anyone. He does find a Mordekaiser, which is a nice Sentinel, and ooh, he's gonna get oh, and he's gonna go for the Gunblade. Interesting. But yeah, he is gonna get in Pentakill here and just play this board, which might be his strongest. It's just like Pentakill doesn't really do, one, it doesn't do anything for the Cassante, and 2, it doesn't do as much early because you're not getting to that 5 kill, but it's fine for the damage reduction and damage increase on your Penta units, and it's especially fine for this 5 loss streak here. So yeah, there's also Yasuo who like could theoretically hold on to these items. Wow. Yeah, this is clean stuff. Go for the 5 loss streak, especially with Phoenix in your pool. I mean, you have to go for this. So it didn't look like Phoenix was going for the loss streak here. Yeah, I think this was actually like a little bit, but I think he was just afraid that Phoenix was going to swap out and full open in a spot like this. Phoenix ends up not full opening and still losing. But yeah, I think you can actually, like, the way he was scouting Phoenix, it didn't really look like Phoenix was going to open in the same way that he did. So like he might have actually been able to get away with a little bit more HP and actually play his board. But the fear is that like last second Phoenix swaps. But if that's the case, you can just swap last second as well. It's hard to react to for sure. But those are things you can do. Sword there. But yeah, I'm interested in that Gunblade Slam. Like, I guess that Gunblade's just gonna end up being like a healing item on one of our guys. Like, I don't completely hate it. Dazzler Bard here. Really? Interesting. Okay. We have no items for him. We have nowhere near items for him. I definitely would greed for like somebody that could hold these items. But yeah, he's just gonna play the Bard. And I mean, I guess the idea is that we can just 3-5 it. Look for maybe a 3-cost Chosen, ideally like a Yone. Because like you're gonna have to find a playable Chosen at some point. So maybe this Bard just keeps us alive. I mean, the Bard actually did good damage there. I feel like this Bard Chosen is actually really, ooh, I mean, it's Silver Veil, right? He actually, like, that's the best possible augment in this position, like, by far. Because you didn't build QSS, but you actually managed to hit Silver Veil. So now you're like 4-item basically on your eventual carry. Only downside to this opener, if we do end up trying to play into Yone here, is that, oh, and yeah, he's actually just full forcing Yone in this spot, which I think makes a lot of sense if it's uncontested. So I haven't talked much about this Yone comp, but Yone reroll on PBE in the in-house games that I've played has emerged as one of the most insane reroll comps on the current patch. I fully expect this. You know, last patch we had like Misfortune and Country Roll that were just like insanely dominant, and you know, you would get an early MF and say, okay, oh, there's a Yone. Don't put items on him though. You don't want to put items on him because you want to put items on the Chosen. But yeah, ooh, there's no way he's gonna go for the cash out, right? He's just gonna play this for. I would be very surprised if he went for the cash out here. But I don't know. I guess we'll see, because like you have to keep this in for 4 rounds. It means you have to keep it in until 4-1, and you want to transfer items to Yone, I would have to imagine, next round. But yeah, like those reroll comps were incredibly dominant on this patch, on the previous patch, and I think this patch it's going to be Yone reroll all day. If you get a good spot for Yone reroll, which this is a good spot for it, he's great augments for it, great items made. Already has 1 Yone, which isn't a ton. There, and he's scouting. You see, like, you know, there's 1 Yone on the bench over there. It's not like we're sort of like ahead as far as how many Yones we have right now. Like 1 Yone is not that many. Getting to pick up the Zed here is huge. We also don't have the Evelyn. We don't have the Katarina to play for the Ford Crowd Diver, which is what you want to play for. Oftentimes, we do already have the Kale, which is nice, and we have the Mordekaiser, who tends to be someone that you want to play. But yeah, I think we just level here and then dig really, really hard for a Chosen Yone. I think it's actually really, really correct to be greedy about Chosen in spots like this. Yeah, like he ends up picking up the Riven here. I would even be hesitant to do this. Okay, but he's going to go for the Riven here. So yeah, he thinks he can be a little bit flex about what headliner he takes here. Because yeah, I don't know. I mean, Riven's okay. I think she's a decent bit worse than Yone. But I did actually, in one of the in-houses I played against a Riven 3, and he does manage to keep 3 Heartsteel in here. So he is actually potentially sacking till 4-1, but we were getting very, very low here. So we're going to have to get a nice cash out here. The Mordekaiser 2 is really, really nice. Okay, so yeah, he's actually going to roll. Interesting. Roll still. I mean, you can find more Yones in this spot, right? Is the idea. And yeah, it didn't look like anyone was actively playing for Yone reroll. It looked like just maybe there were a few people who had like a Yone, like 1 or 2 Yones on their bench. Riven, I would think, would just chew up this Lux. She would just kill these units and then redirect onto Lux. And Lux just doesn't have the single target damage to kill the Riven. Yeah, there's just no way. Kind of unfortunate, actually, that we win this fight after being 9 loss. Would actually really like to lose this fight, but snapping your streak's not the end of the world, especially when you're 32 HP. A little bit of HP preservation definitely goes a long way in this spot. But yeah, now he decides to pivot back. He says, you know what, I think this was actually really smart by Dish. He decided that, you know, he's going to play that Riven for 2 rounds and then pivot back like this round. But, you know, he didn't want to have to roll up to 0 gold here. Ooh, there's like Titans, IE. Some really good stuff there. That is Yone. I didn't even catch which headliner it was, but very, very nice. And all of a sudden, we're 2 off of Yone 3. Oh, it's the Crowd Diver headliner. That's the best one by far. And yeah, he's going to get into a pretty solid board. Move items over. You can actually put these items. I'm actually surprised he does put these items on Viego, because I really like putting these items onto second Yone here. I guess the problem is that, like, if you don't hit Yone 3, then you have to leave the items on him, and maybe he has to cut Yone here immediately. I'm not sure what board he's actually playing right now. We can look at it in a sec. Metalheads is not great. What's our item? Rod. Well, I mean, it could be another Gunblade, though. I mean, I think Martyr is very good in this setup, and I think Crash Test Dummies. I'm curious what he takes here. I'd probably go Martyr here, but I think Crash Test is very good as well. Remember your roots. Wow. HP and attack speed. Huh. I mean, so he's Crowd Diver, Edgelord, Heartsteel. Your Penta units, like, this is not going to get the benefit. This, of course, is. If you have like a York later, he's not going to get the benefits. I'm really surprised that he likes this augment. I think more people actually like this augment than, like, the stats say this augment is, like, pretty mid. But interesting. Yeah, the attack speed and everything. Okay, but yeah, he's still playing Heartsteel here, which is the main thing. And he's playing the double Yone here. Like, these two would immediately just be cut for Crowd Diver, which... And then, like, this comes out for just frontline, right? I believe so. I mean, you can just play, yeah, exactly like this. And then eventually this comes out for frontline. Very close to Yone here. He's, yeah, now 1 off after that roll. Ooh, Viego is amazing there. And we just need to hit the Yone here, which we should, in all likelihood, hit. I like Thresh a lot in this comp as just an extra frontliner. I really, really like playing him as frontline for a while. He's going to hold on to the Ziggs either to deny it or just to... He thinks maybe he'll play Ziggs. I don't know. I'm curious about the future of the Ziggs and if he wants to hold on to this Thresh, but I don't know. Hitting the Viego too was really, really big. The LW on Viego, completely fine. Yeah, doesn't have any interest in the Thresh, so his front line's just gonna have to be like Viego and like Mordekaiser and stuff. He's thinking about selling, making 10 there, but there's no way you sell the Eve there, right? Eve is really important in this comp just so that you can get to you know, the 6 Crowd Diver once you hit Kiana on 9. Okay, so yeah, he's just gonna play 2 Sentinel here, which is probably the strongest version of his board right now. He doesn't really need the Thresh immediately. I would hold the Thresh because I want him for later, but like, I think you play this version now and then eventually you pivot into like the Thresh York version instead of these 2 Sentinels, I would say. But yeah, his board spiked incredibly hard. One of the nicest things about Yone, did he pivot out of... No, he's still... Does he still have Heartsteel in? No, he doesn't. Okay. Yeah, he ended up pivoting out of Heartsteel right... No, he cashed. I'm dumb. Yeah, he got that component. Okay. Ooh, I really want him to take this Kayn here because I have trouble fitting Kayn in this comp because of what I was talking about where I want to play the Thresh. Like, I just have trouble figuring out how you actually fit the Kayn, because the problem with fitting Kayn normally is Edgelord, Edgelord, Edgelord. So like these are the 3 that we always want to play because we want to play Pentakill on this board. Like obviously now, like right now, this could come out. But eventually, I feel like it becomes very hard to end up fitting the Kayn. So I'm really curious to see how he fits it on his late game board, because this is something I've actually had a lot of trouble with. Man, I mean, if you look at the what's this augment called? Big grow, friends grow with each other, something like that. Like we're getting value on like our entire board except for this Mordekaiser, right? So in many ways, it actually looks really strong here. HP and attack speed onto your entire board. What were other options again? I felt like there were some really... Oh, yeah, there were Crash Test Dummies, and there was Crash Test Dummies and then something else that I really, really liked. I forget what it was. Oh, Z2 is nice, though. We're not item holding him, so it's not like that good. But yeah, I don't know. I was surprised that he took it, but it actually, like, on this board looks really, really nice. And of course, all these units like attack speed, like HP. Maybe this augment's actually just broken in this comp, the more that... I think about it. Like, it actually makes a lot of sense on this board. I mean, you love attack speed, you love HP on all of these units, and you're also playing a lot of Edgelords and Crowd Divers, so like you get full value. Maybe the idea, like the reason why the stats on that augment are not very good is just because last patch there weren't that many units, or not that many comps that really utilized it that well. But like, is that really true? Something like a KDA comp, like you can very easily, like an Ahri, you know, you put that on Ahri, and you know, like your entire board gets it. Nice thing about having a whatchamacallit, a Kayn, is that you can use all of these AP items here. So you could go something like Ionic Gunblade. You could go like Death Cap, but there's no like Hodge to play with it. Ionic Gunblade I think is pretty decent. I think this unit likes Ionic a good bit. I like Gunblade a lot. You could go like Archangel, but I don't think Archangel does great on him. I assume it's Ionic Gunblade. Or maybe it could also be Death Cap BT. I wonder what's better. I feel like Ionic Gunblade is better, but I wouldn't be that shocked about Deathcap BT. Yeah, Ionic Gunblade, I think. Just seems better. I'm not really sure why exactly it seems better to me, though. I mean, he gets great Ionic value. Yeah, I think Ionic Gunblade makes the most sense. But, like, it's kind of a vibes-based... But I don't know, look, I watch Setsuko play TFT sometimes. You know, they talk about how, like, some of the great, like, chess masters and, like, great, like, Go players, if you ask them to, like, explain why they made a mood, and we're just gonna play this 5 edgelord board here for now, actually. So my thought process usually is that... I mean, we kind of want to cut a lot of these edgelords. Like late game, I was talking to Kai about this. Like late game, like obviously this is coming out for Yorick. I guess you could just play 5 edgelord on 8. No, but the problem is we have to play 6 crowd diver later. So curious to see how he plays, because the board's got a cap around 6 crowd diver. But in any case, I don't know. I love getting sidetracked when I record videos, but I always get back to the thread. Well, I usually get back to the thread. They talk about like how, you know, like the great chess masters, great Go players, like they'll just play a move, and if you ask them to explain why, they're just like, it looked right. Like I intuited that move was correct. And I think a lot of really good TFT players have a similar thing where they can like intuit what item to build, or like what's strongest board, or like I think a really good example is like what's a good econ decision. Just based off like, it made sense to me. And I think like the more people play and the more they build up their like fundamentals and their just like intuition, I think the more that will become a thing where people will just say, yeah, I mean, like it made sense, right? I built this item. And like, I think most people tend to have an explanation for it, but like, I don't know, the further we get in TFT understanding, I think actually there might be more and more people who are just like, yeah, it seemed good. JG tends to be a really good item on, oh, that guy. Do we have Healing Reduct on this board? If not, then Sunfire's great. We don't. Yeah, so just Sunfire. Interesting that it's Sunfire Zed. I would have expected for sure that it was Sunfire Kane, just because it's a third item on him, and he feels like a really solid Sunfire holder that, you know, like dashes into the board. Maybe he just wanted an item onto Zed. Interesting. Or maybe just he thinks that he can greed for better items on Kane, and he thinks that Kane is going to be his like Giga late game carry, which like it's cool to see this version of the board where like Kane's actually doing work. Because yeah, I've always sort of had trouble fitting this Kane unit because I feel like you would just lack frontline if you go for this version of the board, especially. I mean, because I just don't. It's gonna be add Kiana. It's gonna be add Kiana, and then you're gonna cut this probably for Evelyn, and then you're gonna cut this for Yorick, and then you end up sort of with an extra. You end up with 4 out of 5 edgelord, and that can become Gnar for Masher. But I'm not sure actually if that's gonna be what we see. Like these are the fights where I feel like, and maybe Edge of Night swung this fight. Those are the fights where I feel like when I end up playing Titans Yone, I feel like he ends up doing insane work. Where you have Titans Yone, he's the last unit alive, and he just heals back to full and just wins the entire fight. I don't know. I'm not saying for sure that, you know, Titans Yone versus Edge of Night Yone would have won that fight, but it's definitely something to consider when you have the opportunity to build it. There's Kiana, incredible spike for this board. Have to make this version, of course, and then yeah, oh, what the fuck? Oh my god. And so he just open sells Kane because he wants to move the items over to Kiana. And once again, he's going to greed for Biss, for not necessarily Biss, but for good enough in slot items on Kiana. And so yeah, he immediately cut the Kane here and moved items to Kiana. I mean, I think that's very intuitive. Once again, Kiana 2 is a very strong unit, and now his board's absolutely insane. The only thing that can beat him is an insanely capped board, and I don't know what Soju's board is. We found the Kane again. Curious if he tries to fit it back in. Yeah, he doesn't fit it back in. Man, I wanted to see. I'd really be curious to see what his board looks like if he didn't hit this this Kiana 2 and if he had hit Kane 2. Because I really want to know how you're actually supposed to fit. I mean, I think I kind of talked through how you're supposed to fit Kane on this board, but I don't know. I'd like to see it just, you know, to make sure that I'm not crazy. Looks like he's absolutely stomping Soju's board. I don't know. I didn't look too closely at Soju's board. Oh, I mean, it's Soju's board is a pretty capped legendary board. Yorick over that, I think. But the problem is you're playing Echo for Sentinel here. It's actually probably worse right now. That's funny. But yeah, I mean, Soju's a pretty capped legendary board. The problem is if you get this allow to half HP and Yone dashes through, oh, and with the Kiana ult, like he's just going to be on your backline immediately. And then look at this. He's just killing backline. If Soju swapped to the right side, he'd still probably lose. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. This comp is insane. Like, comment, subscribe, check out my Twitch and all my other links down below. Thank you.